If you are planned and organized and are following a plan that you know works, it's just like anything else in life. It becomes way easier. You're optimized for time, you're optimized for efficiency, and you get results that you want without putting in a whole bunch of effort.
When you do have someone your age younger that passes or that has a significant injury that's life-threatening, or they lose their life, it reminds you of all the stupid shit that you're worried about is nothing.
You could do all the protein, you could be on the best strength program in the world, but if you're sleeping only 5 hours a night, it's not going to happen.
I see you at the gym, your first time, I'm sure Pat's the same. You look like you don't belong. I'm giving you props. I'm giving you love because you showed up. That's what matters, man.
All right, welcome to the Living Richly podcast, everyone. We're so glad that you've joined us today for this super important conversation on men's health at midlife. I tell you, midlife gets a really bad rap, right? It's we call it a crisis, we call it being over the hill, we call it slowing down. Today, we're calling bullshit on all of it. I believe midlife can actually be one of the most energizing, purposeful seasons in a man's life. And in studio, well, not in studio. We're kind of doing this remote this time because we couldn't coordinate studio. But I got two great friends here and two men that I respect highly. And I'm so glad that I was able to get them for this conversation. First, we've got Dr. Kwadwo Kyeremanteng. He's head of the clinical care department at the Ottawa Hospital. He's author of Unapologetic Leadership and his latest book, Prevention Over Prescription. And he's a frontline intensive care physician turned wellness innovator who's on a mission to keep you out of the ICU. Kwadwo, so good to have you here, brother.
You know I'm happy to be here. You know what we're going to represent? It's going to be episode number 1, I'm feeling, with Pat in the mix too. Like,
that's
all
correct.
Winning.
Yes, sir.
All winning.
All winning. So good. And next up, we've got Pat Woodcock, a.k.a. Elite Coach, former pro football wide receiver with the NFL and CFL, Grey Cup champ and record setter, and now a high-performance health coach helping high-achieving men reboot their bodies and mindset. He's lived elite sport and now coaches elite transformation and also happens to be the fitness coach that got my ass back in shape. Pat, so great to have you on the call.
Yes, sir, Eric. It's great to be here, man. Kwadwo, good to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, brother.
Yes, sir.
So good, so good. I said I consider you both friends. We've had the opportunity to connect over the last year. You guys have participated in the Foundry. Kwadwo, this is your second appearance on the podcast, and Pat, this is your first, but certainly won't be the last. But let's start here today. When we talk about myths about men at midlife, the whole midlife crisis bullshit, how would you respond to that? What's one myth you would want to bust?
Who's going first?
Well, you go. You start.
Yeah, go ahead.
For it.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, Eric. There's probably more. I'm less optimistic than you are in terms of the midlife set. I think there's a lot of upside. I think maybe one of the myths is that the quote unquote crisis is as significant as we dramatize it on television or on media. I don't necessarily think it's as dramatic as a change, but it's not butterflies and rainbows and unicorns, if that makes sense. I do think there's some nuance to how you approach it. And I mean, I look back what I'm going through over the last few years from a wellness perspective, like a mental health, from a physical aspect, things are changing, from finding purpose. A lot has changed. And so maybe to be a little bit on the devil's side, I think this is something you have to be proactive in approaching, because if you come at it and you get blindsided with a lot of this stuff, I think it's going to affect you more. But there's certainly things I would change if I knew this was going to be if I knew what I knew now, I would approach things differently when I was younger, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. And I agree with you. There is in many ways a crisis. I mean, part of why we started the Foundry, part of why I'm so passionate about helping men at midlife is that the stats don't lie, right? The suicide rates are through the roof. Guys are reaching this stage of life often with no plan, no purpose, no mission. And they just let themselves go in all kinds of ways, mentally, emotionally, physically. And so then I think the typical midlife crisis becomes their reality. My hope is that today's conversation and those that are listening in on it, we may help shift their mindset a little bit about the possibilities in the midst of the stuff that you just talked about. Pat, what about you? What's a myth you would want to bust?
Yeah, I think you guys kind of hit on it a little bit. I think the biggest myth for me is that there's nothing you can do about it. You kind of hit 40 or 45 or 50 and like, this is it. I'm going to feel crappy. I'm going to have no direction. I'm going to feel lonely. I'm going to not be able to exercise or do all the things. And you just think, well, this is where I am now and I'll just have to live with it until I die. And I think that's so many guys just don't either take the time or nobody's ever kind of given them an idea that there is stuff you can do to make it better. It's not going to be like you were when you were 25. It's never going to be that good, but it can be better than where you are now. You don't have to be resigned to feeling like shit every day and not having direction when you wake up in the morning and all that kind of stuff and just kind of floating through life. There's stuff you can do to improve your health, to improve your drive, your motivation, your relationships, like all those things can still be improved even though you're 40, 45, 50 years old.
Yeah, or in my case, 54.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I'm the oldest one on the call.
Okay.
I'm happy about that. Can I add one other thing? One thing, as I was looking at Pat, actually, that does come to mind is, at least from a strength perspective, I know we're getting to the weeds about some things, but in some ways, I've been able to get stronger as I get older, depending on how you define strength or what area of the body we're talking about. But that's one part that I think is a pretty strong myth, that you're going to not get as strong as you age, or you're going to lose a bunch of muscle mass. And at least from a maintenance, I've been okay from that perspective. But in some ways, I'm stronger than I've ever been before in my life. And so this is another one that I think to encourage our midlife men there, that this aspect of life can be maintained more than you probably think.
100%.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, wasn't that long ago. I think as of today's recording date, I know we record these and then release them in the future, but as of today's recording date, this is week 16 of working with Pat. Since I hired Pat as my fitness coach, I had kind of let business become the priority, and I was putting myself in the back seat in terms of priorities. And in 16 weeks, I've lost about 25 pounds. I put on a bunch of muscle mass. I'm in the best shape of my life. In many ways, I feel stronger than I ever have, to your point. And I think this is the myth, or one of the major myths, is that we can't shift things. If we find ourselves in a place where we're not happy, we're not content with our health and how we're feeling, that somehow that's our lot. But there's so much that we can do to shift that reality. I'm curious, when you think midlife health, what's the first story or image that comes to mind for you guys? And I'm going to throw this one Pat's way first.
In terms of myself, or just in terms just overall? Myself? Yeah. So, I mean, for me, it's tough because I obviously come from, a high performance background. So for me, every day is like a reminder of the things that I can't do anymore, right? I can't sprint as fast, even though I can still sprint. I can't sprint as fast. I can't do the things. My warm-ups are longer than my workouts some days. But the reality is, I think it's getting better now that I've, over the last several years, as I've kind of come up with what works for guys our age a little bit better. I'm getting better every year now. I'm not getting, I'm not going to be the 25-year-old wide receiver anymore, but I'm getting better than I was sort of at 40 and 41. I feel better. I move better. I am feeling stronger. There's a lot of things that I've been able to just do better with more knowledge and more intention with what I'm doing, right? There's so many different things that we do in life that are just kind of automatic and you don't even think about it. But when you can make decisions with intention, whether it's how you train, how you sleep, how you eat, all those things, when you actually have intention behind it, then it makes it that much easier to have progress and to feel good about what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. What about you, Kwadwo?
I mean, to be honest with you, in terms of image, I gotta say we're the unicorns. I think, and in my case, I'm the white unicorn. You guys are black unicorns. Anyway, the I like I look around, guys our age. We're not. There's not many of us that are in shape,
Mm,
and and so number one, kudos to all of y'all, and number two, we need to, part of what I feel like we need is to start a movement. Like if you start feeling good, looking good, so many things come together. If you get stronger, if you get more energy, get more confidence, like y- you coach leaders.
mm.
I'm a quote unquote leader. I sit in these boardrooms and senior management tables. You come looking like you belong, like you come feeling like fit and have that presence. It's influential.
Mm.
And I think there needs to be a little bit more pride out there for the middle-aged guy that say, like, we could take some agency and not have that beer belly ass, uh, moving slowly, uh, friggin' sugar drinks, 9 beers post hockey. Like, I think there
Yeah.
needs to be a little bit of agency and ownership. And my thing is, I've thought about this a lot. Like a lot of ways of, like when I think about my kids, the best way to teach them isn't what we're saying; it's by modeling. And I thought about this a lot because not just for their physical health, but mental everything, right? And so, in our house, you exercise, you eat well. That's the norm, and that's
Mm.
going to translate into their lives. That's going to translate into their kids' lives. So I think to the dads out there, and this is not, I'm not trying to shame y'all. Actually, call it whatever you want. I don't really care. Whatever motivates you.
Yeah, there should be some shame there a little bit.
Yeah. Like, let's, it doesn't, you don't have to be throwing down like a 400-pound back squat, but just be at the gym. Like, I'll tell you this. I see you at the gym your first time. I'm sure Pat's the same. You look like you don't belong. I'm giving you props. I'm giving
Yeah.
you love because you showed up.
Yeah.
That's what matters, man. Like you're putting in the time. The win is a process. You're showing up, and so I think this is needs to be more the norm for us middle aged. Sorry, I'm going off on a little bit of a rant because it's. I think we got a lot of work to do from that perspective.
Yeah, I think it's a worthy rant, right? I think it's so important that we see the possibilities here. I mean, I've seen it just in the Foundry. It was a couple of Foundry dinners back. Was the first time I showed up and I had shed all this weight, and the arms are looking cut, and I'm feeling good, right? But I just showed up to host the night like I normally did, and a bunch of the guys that know me were like, "Holy shit! Like, what happened to you?" Right? And that after that dinner, at least 3 of them started going to the gym. And I talked to them at the last dinner, and they're still going to the gym.
Amazing.
And who's the guy on Instagram? Get to the fucking gym. Have you seen that guy? That's all he ever says. It's quite funny. I'm curious though. I mean, you guys are coming at this from very different walk of life. I mean, Kwadwo as a ICU doc and Pat as an elite coach for elite leaders. What finally gets men to wake the fuck up and start taking their health seriously?
I think from what I've seen, it's very individual, just like so many other things in life. There's no one determining factor. I've had guys who have had medical scares and like my stuff is through the roof and I need to get back in shape or I'm going to die.
Mm-hmm.
I've had some that, my kids are getting to a certain age and they see how I look and how I move and I don't like that. I want to be better for them. There's some that have had relationships end and they're trying to get back out in the world and they're like, I can't present myself like this anymore. So I think there's a combination. I've had guys who have said, I'm getting a big promotion at work and I can't walk into the boardroom looking like I do now. And so, I mean, those things are all different factors because, I mean, we're all individuals. Everybody's got different priorities in life, different things that matter the most to them. And so it's not a one size fits all answer to that, I don't think. But I think it eventually comes down to with whatever is important to him, he looks in the mirror and says, I'm not the man I need to be to go be that guy. And I need to make a change.
Yeah, love that. Kwadwo, I mean, you experience, when you meet people for the first time, it's often in a crisis in the ICU. So what have you seen, like, in terms of people having a big scare with their health and doing something about it, or doing just enough to get past the scare and back to things like they used to be?
I mean, if I'm being honest, and I hope I'm not being too pessimistic, the most of the time that I see, at least at work, it's not enough to scare them. Like, it's not enough to, like, it's not powerful enough to move the needle for them to get to the gym and so forth, because those habits have been so ingrained. By the time, like, I'll be, a lot of people hang on to my literal, everything I say literally. So I'm just going to be as not specific as possible. But if you land in the ICU, typically the horse is out of the barn. Like, a lot of people, not everyone, there are exceptions, absolutely. But by the time they come, unfortunately, they've had a lifestyle for a very long time. They've already had their heart attacks, their strokes. They've had their multiple infections. Sometimes it's a wake-up call for their loved one. But unfortunately, I don't get those stories. Like, because we work only a week at a time. And so every once in a while, you'll see that. Sometimes the nurses or the staff see what's happening within the ICU, and that could be pivotal for them. But the number one thing at a high level that I see is that people just tie it to a purpose, like a purpose greater than themselves. So, as Pat alluded to, maybe it's represent for their kids or their grandkids or their job or their family. But I think really tying that why, that purpose, when they're really, it's clear to them, often is enough fuel for them to move the needle.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think fear and shame can trigger initial action, but isn't good fuel to go long distance, right? You have to shift from fear and shame into some kind of purpose or goal, or why this matters, why this is important. And I think you said it really, really well. Pat, as a coach, what's the most common excuse? You must hear it all. You've probably heard it all from men in their 40s and 50s. And how do you help them move past it?
Most common is probably time. And I deal with guys who are busy, guys who are, busy with work and busy with families and all that kind of stuff, which I 100% get. It's not easy. And I think it's trying to convince them that, when you're organized and you have a plan, just like anything else in life, everything moves much smoother, right? If you're disorganized at work and you don't know what you're doing on that project, then you've got too much time and you're scrambling and you're making stuff up and you're not efficient. But when you have a plan to follow and you've got, coordination and you've got accountability built in, and then everything's kind of in place for you to do, it's like 45 minutes 4 times a week. It's not really that long. And maybe an hour and a half of food prep, which you're doing already, you're just doing it inefficiently. So if you are planned and organized and are following a plan that works, it's just like anything else in life. It becomes way easier. You're optimized for time, you're optimized for efficiency, and you get results that you want without putting in a whole bunch of effort. So it's the time issue comes in when you're trying to make up a workout on the spot, or you comes to 5:30 and you don't know what you're going to eat for dinner and you're trying to make something up on the spot. Those are the things that create a lack of time to actually do it well and do it efficiently and get results with it. But when you have a plan, it's really not that hard. And at a certain point, you have to decide what your priorities are, right? You've got an hour to go to the gym. You just need to turn off the TV. Or you've got an hour to go to the gym. You just need to not play golf 3 times a week and only play like once or twice a week, or whatever the case is, right? You want to play golf? That's awesome. But make your priorities. You can't play golf 3 times a week and still get to the gym 3 times a week. So you got to prioritize what's important to you.
I love that. And let's stop calling playing golf with 6 beers on the front 9 exercise. Yeah.
I walked though.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's part of what I love about your program. I've been an avid fitness enthusiast for a long time. Like I said, I let that slip to the background over the last 12 months or so. Business got really busy and I started believing my own bullshit, right? The business needs me right now. This is just a season. I'll get through it. I'll get back to it. And what I found is I was beginning to struggle more and more with exactly what you talked about, not having a plan, not having a system. Even though I've got a gym in my basement that would rival most small gyms here in the city, I literally should sell memberships to this damn thing.
Yes.
I wasn't using it effectively. And you gave me structure, you gave me a system, you gave me a plan. And here's what I don't, I want to say to business leaders that are listening, especially the men that are listening to this particular episode. Think of the energy you put into planning and building systems for your business.
100%.
How about doing that for your goddamn life? Like, you are the most important asset in your business, and yet we approach our health with such disregard.
Yeah.
Right? We just we're winging it at best, or ignoring it at worst, and we pay a real price for that. But I tell people all the time, my plan: live long and strong. Man, you're going to have to drag me out of life, and I'm going to go out kicking and screaming when I do. And I plan on living. Most people don't think I'm 54. When I tell them I'm 54, they say, you don't look 54. I said, it's because I'm fighting it with every fiber in my being.
For sure.
Right.
And just to go back to your point there where you prioritize business and fell off track for a bit, that's reality. Like that's going to happen. We're going to have periods where business has to take a priority over other things. We're going to have seasons where family has to take priority over other things, whether it's a week at a time or a month at a time, whatever that looks like. But when you still have that plan or the knowledge and intentionality of what you want to do with fitness and health and that kind of stuff, it makes it that much easier to come back to what you were doing prior to whatever that season is. And I tell guys all the time, the expectation is not that you're never going to miss a workout or you're never going to have an off meal, because those things are going to happen. That's life when you have responsibilities, right? None of us are trying to be professional athletes anymore or step on stage. So this is not the number one priority. There's going to be times where we miss. But the key is to not allow that to snowball and become a full 12 months of not doing anything, right? You work hard for your month and whatever, and you fit in a workout where you can. And when that season of business or family illness or whatever it is passes, you get right back on track and kind of make fitness more of a priority again.
Yeah, I love that. It's almost also defining what is good enough. And I always hesitate when I say that, because I'm not a good enough kind of guy. I'm always like, there's more available. I can do more, right? But I'm learning that this good enough, like, do I have to be running at 110% on everything all the time? That's actually not sustainable. And so if I can be hitting it 70 to 80% of the time, right? Then that's a pretty damn good hit rate that's going to keep me where I want to be. There's seasons I may be able to hit it at 110, but I think we lie to ourselves, especially high achievers, that we can be achieving at those levels all the time on all fronts. It's just actually not a reality. Kwadwo, I'm curious, in your book, Prevention Over Prescription, I mean, a great book. And I know you just released that recently, and you've been on a number of podcasts being interviewed, and it's getting lots of great traction. What would you say are a couple of the key takeaways that every man in midlife should know that you talk about in your book?
Thanks for the love. First of all, I just want to piggyback a little bit of what Pat was saying about the time issue. So my this is more Pat's wheelhouse, but my bias as we age is like consistency trumps intensity. So like if you those times you go to the gym and it's like, this is a shitty workout, like I still think that's way better than you not showing up in general. So I'm all about like consistency. So I have a rule for myself. I do some form of exercise daily, like that. By making it a rule, it's a non-negotiable. So that could mean a 5-minute hit, high intensity interval training. I just do Tabata kettlebell swing workout, and it's not. I didn't burn the most calories. I didn't do it, but it's effective, and it gets me in a bright state of mind. I feel like I accomplished something because my process game was on point. So I just want to emphasize that as a major thing. And to answer your question about the big takeaways for men midlife, I'm going to focus on like their physical health probably two things that everybody knows, but I'm going to just reinforce. So I'm a big 80-20 fan. So what's the lever that you could manipulate that's going to give you the biggest bang for your buck? And by far, if everyone had adequate protein intake, everything gets better. Everything gets better. I'm telling you, you're putting on more lean muscle. You are going to be stronger. Your blood sugar regulation's better. You're going to be fuller. You're going to crave less food. Your energy is going to be better. You literally burn more calories by eating protein. 15% of that the calories will be used for digestion. Like if I'm sure you guys have had meat sweats. You go to one of the Brazilian restaurants. That's your body body trying to digest that 20-ounce ribeye that you just threw down. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the magic of protein. And so most people, I literally walked a kid to school and someone was asking me about their loved one and talking about, oh, they're doing all the right things. I'm like, what they eat for breakfast? They had 2-3 eggs. I'm like, how much protein do you actually? I'll put you on the spot, Eric. How many grams of protein do you think are in 3 eggs max?
It's about 15 to 18 grams of protein. Is it at about 6 grams per egg?
I think an extra large egg will have up to 7 grams. I'm like, it was a 200-pound individual. I'm like, you were nowhere close to meeting your protein goals of 0.7. I say, like, you'll see different recommendations, but 0.7 to 1 gram per ideal body weight. So I'm 205. I aim for about 140 something to 200 grams of protein in a day. And that's not easy. And this is the other thing too. It's like people are like, oh, okay, I'm going to eat as much, it's going to be no problem. No, it's work. And you're going to feel bloated. Depending on what you're eating, it's going to be hard. But the results are uncanny. Like it's without question. If you just did one move today and increase your protein intake, you would have some benefit. So that's number one. And number two, I know Pat would agree with this big time. Actually, I'll one or two. I'll choose. You could choose between either increasing your step count, which helps with sleep and associated with longevity. But everybody should be pushing weight. Everybody should be doing some form of resistance training. And my bias as an ICU doc, people don't realize it's actually hard to die in 2025. Like we got all the machines that do all the things, but when people end up, why they die is because of frailty, because their quality of life afterwards is, if they survive, is not aligning with their values. And what the difference maker is people that have lean muscle, the people that have put in the work, they get through. They're more likely to get through. And they also have the mental fortitude to rehabilitate because they go to the gym on a regular basis, even when they don't feel like it. So if I had to choose two things, to be honest with you, it would be amp up that protein intake and do some form of resistance training. Because even if you don't do that much cardio, you could add a cardio component to your resistance training. I was giving the example of kettlebell swings. Like that's going to improve your VO2 max as well as put on your lean muscle. So yeah, that would be my two major ones. 2.5 would be increase your step count.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I see Pat shaking his head in the affirmative to everything you're saying, because it's the very essence of the program that you put me on, Pat. The resistance training, lots of weight training, lots of walking. I'm walking now probably on average 4 or 5 kilometers a day. And not only am I getting the step count in, I have a dog too, so I combine walking him, but what I tell you is, listen, if you do have a dog, you think you don't have time to exercise, you got to walk your dog, right? Like you can't, or else he's going to end up as fat as your ass. Like, yeah. So walk the dog, but don't go out for a casual stroll. Like if you're going out with your significant other for a casual stroll, that's one thing. If you're going out for a walk, just pick up the pace, man. Like just do a brisk walk and watch. I mean, it's part of why the pounds started melting off. It's a big reason. My VO2 max is now north of 37. Right. That's up like 2 points in the last like couple of months. And the weight training and the protein. I heard that first from you, Kwadwo, and it was a reminder because I knew this. I had embraced that in the past, and I had moved away from it. And Pat's got me on macros, right? Where I'm measuring stuff, and I tell you, like even with the day that the days for excuses like it's becoming a lot harder to make excuses, because now Pat provides me my here's what you should be aiming for on a daily basis: workout day, non-workout day. And fuck, I just take that shit into Chat GPT and I said, here's what I'm going to have. Break it down for me. I'm going to be eating at this restaurant. I think I'm going to have this menu item. Does it fit? And then we just build it out. And so it's like having a personal nutrition expert at my side, but it's on my phone. So again, there's few excuses now. We really have to examine what are the lies we're telling ourselves to stay out of shape and to stay in the kind of current condition that we're in. Pat, I hope I didn't steal any of your thunder, because I want to hear you add your. Here I am. I'm talking about your program.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I mean, it's good to hear it from you instead of from me all the time. So, a different voice to say the same thing. Sometimes it helps, right? Just like when you're dealing with your kids, you can tell them things 1,000 times, but if a coach comes and tells them the same thing, then they're going to listen, right? Yeah. But I guess my 2.5 to Kwadwo's, I absolutely 100% agree with the protein and the workouts. My 2.5 would be sleep. I think there's so many guys that do not prioritize sleep and think that they can still get by on 5 hours. I need to work late. I need to wake up early. I need to never miss my workout because I'm waking up early to go. And I think it's obviously multifactorial how bad that is for you. But there's multiple ways that sleep is going to just make your life better. Obviously when we sleep, that's when the hormones are doing their work. So, Eric, as like part of what we're doing in my program is we're trying to manipulate the hormones and make them work a little bit better. And when you're more insulin sensitive and you're taking in more protein in your training, that gives your body an opportunity to produce more testosterone, more growth hormone, those type of things. But if you're not sleeping, it can't do that, because it doesn't happen during the workout. It happens when you're sleeping and recovering at night. So if you're not doing that, you're not getting a bang for your buck. And so many of us, part of the situation that we're in is because our lifestyle has caused that drastic decrease in the hormones. The hormones are going to go down. There's no question about that, but it doesn't have to be as drastic as it is if you deal with stress better, if you go to bed at night, if you do the weight training and the protein and all those kind of things. So that's a big one. And obviously another one too, like when you're not getting enough sleep, it affects your hunger hormones and your satiety hormones. So you wake up in the morning and you're starving and you can't get full. Your body just craves the wrong foods.
Yeah.
You know that from, you wake up after a night out and you just crave all the wrong foods, right? And so you're just setting yourself up for failure, because you wake up, your hormones haven't done the positive things, and now your hormones are making you do negative things. So, sleep is a big, at worst 2.5. I think it needs to be I think it needs to be 3 instead of just 2, to be honest with you. I think we need to have some training, some nutrition, and we need to have some sleep in there too to really make it all work. Because the reality is you could do all the protein, you could be on the best strength program in the world, but if you're sleeping only 5 hours a night, it's not going to happen.
Right. You're gonna be limiting yourself. I know one of the things that you really helped me understand. I've been again a fitness enthusiast for a long time, and prior to kind of letting it take a back seat, when I was working out more regularly, I was doing like arm day, and I was doing like chest day, and then shoulder day, and then I was like, well, skip leg day, and back to arm day, that kind of thing, right? And you helped me understand that actually for men at midlife, those types of workouts are not as effective unless you're training to be like a bodybuilder or something, that for overall health. Can you help our listeners understand the whole body workout versus the focused workouts?
Yeah. So again, it's individualized, obviously. So it depends where you're at, right? If you're already in shape and you're not training to improve health necessarily or to lose weight, you're training to just build muscles, then cool. A bodybuilding split can work where you do a specific body part and you just trash that body part on a particular day. But in terms of overall health and in terms of hormone manipulation that we talked about, and in terms of burning the most calories and getting the most metabolic bang for your buck from your workouts, it's much, much more effective to train the full body together, or at worst case, train upper body, lower body. So you're doing all your legs on one day, all your upper body on another day. Because the reality is, if you go do an arm day and you're just working biceps, triceps, and maybe shoulders, those are very small muscles. They have very, very small metabolic requirements. So you're going to, maybe pump up that muscle a little bit, but you're not getting a lot of bang for your buck when it comes to overall fitness and health. So if you're continuing to do that, bodybuilding split that you got when you were 25 out of the Muscle magazine, it might work for you in terms of getting big arms, but it's not going to do anything for your fat loss and your belly and all that kind of stuff. So, important for guys to understand that just going to the gym isn't necessarily enough. Like, yes, it's great that you're going, and it's certainly better than nothing. But in terms of, again, being efficient with your time and getting the most bang for your buck, you're much more effective to train the full body together, and obviously do that in a way that you're not trashed for the next workout, so that you can get multiple full body workouts in during the week.
Yeah, and again, what I love about the approach is you don't have to work out every day. I think movement every day is important.
Yeah.
And often with a lot of my clients, they get hung up on, we start talking about exercise, we start talking about getting fit. And for a lot of folks, that carries baggage. Those terms carry baggage. So I say, okay, forget about exercise, forget about fitness. Can we just talk about movement? Like, get off your ass and do something every day, even if it's for 10 minutes. Start somewhere. And that's where it leads me to my next question. And I'd love to hear, and maybe we'll start with you, Kwadwo, is like, what's one small but powerful fitness habit a guy at midlife can start today without like feeling a need to overhaul his whole life?
That's a very good question, actually. I might change my answer, but the one that comes front of mind is there's walking, which we talked about, but I really like the exercise snacks concept. So you're watching I do this with my boys. Like, we're watching the Oilers dominate the Habs last night. What's up? And every TV timeout, you do 10 push-ups or you do air squats. I mean, we don't do this every time we watch TV. We have an active lifestyle, but if it's a Sunday football day where we're doing, like, it's lazy day, like, every first down, let's do 3 burpees. Let's do some kind of activity. And I really like this one because some of the literature shows that it's could be just as effective as sustained walking. So it gets the blood going. It just creates a healthy habit too. So I think intervening on a regular interval, you're at work, you got all these Zoom meetings. Every 30 minutes, you do 5 air squats. I like having, I don't have one right now, but a kettlebell or some kind of dumbbell beside the desk if I know I'm having a lazy day, and just at some interval, just do some goblet squats or something. And I think, once again, it's maybe you're not burning the most calories, but you're getting that habit. It's becoming culture, and so I think that would be probably the one thing that comes to mind in terms of creating that habit.
Love that. Pat, what would be yours?
Yeah, I mean, I think Kwadwo really hit it. Like, he said it before, actually, and that was just do something every day. Doesn't have to be a full workout. And I think, with the guys that we deal with the most, in terms of the high performers, most of them have the idea that, well, if I'm not all in, then I'm all out, right? Everything has to be 110%. Like, there is no, right? I can't have an 80% workout or a 50% workout, or just pick up a kettlebell for 5 minutes, right? If I didn't get my workout in, then it's a wasted day. And so I think just some movement every single day, for the reasons that he mentioned. And I'll give you one more reason, I think, is that when you make it that habit, and a guy says, no matter what, I'm going to do something every day, even when I'm super busy or it's a lazy day, then he starts to view himself as a fitness guy, right? He's not just doing a workout anymore. Now he's like, no, this is part of my life. Every day I do something. I'm a fitness guy. And that translates into, okay, well, if I'm a fitness guy, well, then I need to eat better. And if I'm a fitness guy, well, then I need to not drink every night. And if I'm a fitness guy, then I need to go to bed at night. And just those subtle mindset shifts, it becomes now, I'm not an out of shape guy who's following a workout program to try to get better. I'm a fitness guy, and this is what I do with my life. And that makes a big difference in terms of getting guys to stick to it and have it be sustainable in the rest of your life, basically.
It's your identity now.
Exactly. This is who I am, right? The same way, like, I would never smoke a cigarette because I'm not a smoker. I know for sure I'm not a smoker. But some people say I am a smoker, and so they can't avoid picking up a cigarette. Well, you want to be the guy I'm a fitness guy, so I can't avoid doing something every day.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, as a coach, I coach my leaders all the time that when you're trying to make any significant change in your life, you have to go to the belief level. You have to address your core belief around that issue, because the most you can achieve if you don't address the underlying belief is behavior modification that snaps back to your habits in a heartbeat, right? Because we cannot act contrary to our core beliefs for any length of time.
Yes.
Right. What we believe translates into what we do. So I love that. I'm a fitness guy. If I believe that, then all of a sudden things shift. Gentlemen, let me introduce a framework that you may have heard me talk about, but in the Living Richly Nation and the framework that I created around this, it was part of my own transformation journey a few years ago. I turned to the 4 elements of nature. You can actually see the symbols on my wall behind me here. The 4 elements of nature: fire, water, air, or wind, and earth. And the 4 elements, quickly: fire speaks of your emotional life, your passions, your heart. Water speaks of your mind, right? Your mindset, your thought life, all of that. Wind speaks of spirit, so spirituality, whatever that means to you, connecting to something beyond yourself. And often, Kwadwo, that could be purpose, that could be your why. For some people, it's some kind of spirituality, but it doesn't have to be. And finally, earth is your body. It's the frame you carry all that shit in. And I'm on a mission to help men and women live a richer life, like to really not settle for status quo. And we use that model to say, what's your heart like? What's your mindset like? What's your spirituality like? Where's your body at? But when it comes to the body, it carries everything. If it's hard to actually live richly in any of those other areas if you're feeling like shit. I'm curious what you guys think about that.
I mean, you hear this, it's cheesy, but everyone has a million problems until you have a health problem. There's only one problem. And it's so fucking true. Like I have a gift, a blessing, I should say, of working in the field that I do, because it allows you to put things into perspective at times. And I'm not always good at this, but when you do have someone your age, younger, that passes or that has a significant injury that's life-threatening, or they lose their life, it reminds you of all the stupid shit that you're worried about is nothing. Like, it really is nothing. Like, I don't want to come across like I don't succumb to this as well. I was at Quebec City yesterday giving a talk, and I was super anxious about it. It was a talk I'd never given before. And then it reminded myself that it's my brother's birthday today. It's soon about 2 years since my mom passed. And I'm like, what am I really worried about? This is nothing, right? Like, we saw our mom go through, and as a family, and I just said, like, she would be so happy just knowing that I'm on stage talking about whatever I'm talking about. And so it just, every once in a while, knowing that that life is so precious that you can't take these things for granted, but it is 100%. If you don't got your health, I mean, you all know it. You've seen a loved one go through it. If you're middle aged, you can't be not have had some form of a loss. So I think that's just an important reminder that, that meeting that Janice that Zoom meeting that you decided to come late to because you wanted to get to that extra 5 minutes of workout time or whatever, yeah, man, that's okay. Give yourself the green light. Give yourself permission to take care of yourself because you only got one body, dog. And
Yeah.
and if you don't have your health, there's so much you don't have. So yeah, anyways, I
Yeah.
agree 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. Pat.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think there's any other way to put it better than what Kwadwo just did. But if it's really hard to have a positive mindset, so a positive water, if you wake up every morning with no energy and feeling like crap and unhappy with what you look in the mirror. Like, it's really hard to then go through the day with a positive mindset and attack all the things that you want to do. And then on the mindset and body, those kind of drive everything else, right? And it's hard to be passionate about the things that you want to be passionate about when you feel unpassionate about yourself. And so, I really think obviously they're all tied together, but the body, I think, can just have so much effect on everything else. When it gets better, you feel better, you look better, you perform better, you carry yourself better. Although it just allows you to be fully you, right? It allows you to fully express whatever's in your heart, whatever's in your head, without hesitation, without anxiety, without, you know what I mean? Like, when you're confident and you feel great and you have that energy and that clarity, then it just allows you to perform at your very best for yourself, for your business, for your family. It just gives you an opportunity to be your most authentic and true self.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, the mind-body connection, right? It's been talked about a lot more, but there is so much truth that these things are interlinked. And when I think of a lot of my own journey and a lot of leaders that I've spoken to, often when they took the step to do something about improving their health and they started to see their body respond, right? The weight started to come off, the strength started to return, their energy levels are coming up, they're feeling stronger in the bedroom and the boardroom, right? Like, they start to see these changes. All of a sudden, it opens up possibilities at the mindset level. And if I can do this, right? If I can make this shift, fuck, I can change anything, right? And now, not everyone takes it that far. Some just do the health thing and don't go beyond. And that's where we say health alone, like, that's an important aspect. But there's these other dimensions that you ought to be exploring, because to live a full life, we've been given all this gear, and it's a shame to see it go unused, right? Untapped, right? So live to it fully. And I couldn't agree more, Kwadwo, when you said, so my dad passed away 66 years old. He was diagnosed with advanced stage 3 advanced lung cancer, never smoked a day in his life, and was sick for over a year, thought he had a bad cold. But my dad had this philosophy. He didn't like doctors. He wouldn't go to the doctor. And so by the time he finally went, the diagnosis, he was too far along, and 2.5 years later, he passed, 66. That's only 12 years from now for me. And I know what that's done for me is I don't mess around. I know a lot of guys from a medical perspective often hesitate to do what's necessary. We've been talking a lot about getting fit, but can we just zero in on that issue for a quick sec? Because I know our time is almost up. My family doctor, when I went to see him recently, because there was something not quite right, and I didn't want to mess with it. I'm not a hypochondriac by any stretch. Ask anybody who knows me. I just don't mess around. If it's not right, I'm going to go see my doc and find out. And he said, Eric, most guys by the time your age who come to me, when they finally come to me, it's too late. And you referred to that earlier. What would you say, and specifically from Kwadwo, what would you say to men who are hesitant to reach out for help when they sense something is not quite right in their body?
I mean, just look at your circle. Look at your circle your circle of influence. You have a family, typically. You have a partner. You're a leader in your community. You have a lot of people that depend on you. So imagine you're out for the count. What that looks like. And we talk prevention over prescription. Part of prevention is getting shit addressed early. Like, I saw this during the pandemic when, like, that was another factor because people were too afraid to come into the hospital, which we won't talk about. But they come in, it's too late. There's the cancer that would have been treatable is now no longer curable, and because of that delay, their life is shortened. And so just think about the big picture. Think about the people that are dependent on you. Picture your funeral, dog. Like, just picture your funeral and just say, are you ready for this? And uh, we've just seen too many folks our age that ignore this problem. And I think one thing is that all of us are fairly intuitive. We're all fairly intuitive. Like, we know if something's like, this is bothering me, it's not quite right. And sometimes we know, like, this ain't right. Like, I think we all have that kind of instinct. And I think just listening to that voice, if it's there, it's there for a reason. And I'll tell you, some of my colleagues probably think I'm a little voodoo for saying this, but like, my intuition, even clinically, has directly impacted patients' lives, for sure. Like, something's not right here, something's off, and you intervene based on that. Like, so I think at a personal level, we all have that capacity, and it's just something that you can't ignore. I know we're up against it, but one thing, just as an example, in the palliative care setting, I can't count how many patients have told me, despite looking okay, they'll say, you know what, I think I'm going to die tonight, or I'm going to die, like, I'm dying soon. And I would say 90% of the time they're on point. Even if you look
Wow.
at them and they're fine or whatever, it's the spookiest thing. You'll just be like, yeah, I think I'm going to die tonight. Call Lisa or whatever. And I tell the kids, like the trainees, when someone tells you that, take it very seriously. Call Lisa, call Shanae, whoever they're asking for. Get there, because they're seeing something we're not seeing.
Yeah, 100%. Gentlemen, last two questions, rapid fire, right? So we're going to do this really, really quick lightning round. What does living richly look like for you in this season of your life? And we're going to go to Pat first.
Oh, great question. I think there's multiple factors, right? You talked about the 4 elements. So, I mean, obviously, we've talked a lot about physicality. And so I want to continue to be strong and healthy and able to do all the things that I want to do with my kids and travel with my wife and all those great things. I want to be mentally as strong as I can possibly be, in terms of, not just, mentally strong and grind through stuff, but like happy and joy and gratitude, and making sure that I'm in the right place mentally to be the father and the husband that I need to be. And then I think, other than that, I think those are the two main things in terms of just where I want to be right now: physically healthy, mentally healthy, and able to be the man that I want to be, and the man that people need around me.
Love that. Kwadwo, what about you?
Everything Pat said, but maybe a little bit more on the connection side. I think we didn't hit on this much, but I think midlife guys don't know how to make friends anymore. They rely too much on their spouse at times to be their everything and anything. And I think one of my living richly would be a little bit more connection, just making sure that it's outside the walls of the house sometimes.
I love that. My situation about a year ago at this time was that I was exactly in that spot, Kwadwo, and I made a commitment to go into the business of making friends. And in the last 12 months, I've met some incredible guys, 2 of which are on this call today. So I'm very, very grateful for that. Last lightning round, really quick. You're sitting eyeball to eyeball with one of our male listeners right now. He's a leader. He's busy. He's not taking his health seriously. What is your advice to him in this moment? What would you say to him, looking right in the eyes?
Just take the first step. Whatever it's going to be, make a decision today that you're going to do something. You can figure it out after that, but make a decision today. Look yourself in the mirror and say, today is the day that I start getting better, getting healthier, getting fitter. For whatever your reason is, commit to yourself to go do it and figure it out as you go.
Right on. Kwadwo.
Everything Pat said, except for I have faith in you. You got this.
Nice.
This is a lot of chips against the wall. I get my expressions mixed up all the time. Chips against the fence.
That's a new one.
Chips against the fence. No, it's you got this, man. Like collectively, individually, whatever it might be, we got you. But you have that agency, you have that capacity.
Kwadwo, where is the best place for people to find you online? And Pat, I'm going to ask you the same question next. Where should we point people so they can find out more about what you're doing, even get your book?
Oh, thanks for this. Once again, Eric. So drkwadwo.ca has all our content. So the links to the books. So Unapologetic Leadership and Prevention Over Prescription. Our podcast is over there. Supplement company, Guided Nutrition, if you're looking for high quality protein. Social media, at Quadcast, at KWADCAST. We're everywhere: IG, Facebook, Instagram. I said Instagram already. YouTube, TikTok, and I think that is all the place. But thank you so much for the opportunity.
So great to have you here. And Pat, where can folks find you?
Yeah, so the website is theelitemanmethod.com. And then social media wise, I am at Elite Coach on Instagram. Facebook and LinkedIn is just my name, Pat Woodcock. I'm pretty active on all the social medias and happy to answer questions and obviously share knowledge as we go.
Right on. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being on the show today. As always, I knew this was going to be a rich conversation, and of course it was. So thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to speak to the nation. And nation, thanks for hanging out with us today. If this episode hit home, make sure to like, share, and subscribe and get the word out so other men and women can hear about this. And if you are a male leader in your 40s or higher, you want to visit foundryformen.com. That's the word foundry, 4 men.com, to find out more about what we're doing with the Foundry in terms of bringing men together to do more than just build business, but build great lives. And if you are also trying to build a great business, make sure to visit my coaching website, rhapsodystrategies.com, where we're helping leaders build great teams, great organizations, and again, focus on a life that they can be proud of. So, folks, thank you so much again for joining us. Kwadwo, Pat, thank you again. And until next time, get out there and live your best life.